I'm stressed out of my mind over here. I don't need you on the phone over there, and I don't need you down there, okay?
What's happening, Johnny?
Listen, you're supposed to be here. Ron told you that you're supposed to be here, and you need to get the bike done. I'm the guy that pays your check. You stay here on the bike all day long.
In the early 2000s, American Chopper roared onto television screens and quickly became a cultural sensation. Centered on the volatile father-son duo behind Orange County Choppers, the show offered a mix of jaw-dropping motorcycle builds and explosive family drama that captivated millions. For a while, it seemed unstoppable. But behind the chrome and cameras, cracks were forming. What started as a celebration of creativity and grit began to unravel in surprising ways. Join us as we tell you why American Chopper fell off.
I enjoyed doing the show at one point when it was real and there wasn't so much pressure from the network. When it started getting scripted and when they had senior versus juniors, I hated it. To me, it ruined everything that we kind of developed.
American Chopper premiered on the Discovery Channel on March 31, 2003, engaging audiences with a mix of craftsmanship, family dynamics, and over-the-top motorcycle builds. The show focused on the workings of Orange County Choppers, a custom motorcycle fabrication shop run by Paul Tootle Sr. and his son, Paul Tootle Jr. What initially attracted viewers was the remarkable attention to detail and artistry in each chopper, which were often themed, highly customized, and built under tight deadlines. The two tools' volatile relationship added an emotional hook that drew in a broad audience, extending beyond motorcycle enthusiasts. The series offered something unique, a behind-the-scenes look at the custom fabrication industry combined with reality TV drama. It worked strongly during the early 2000s, a time when reality television was exploding in popularity. Shows like American Chopper appealed to viewers looking for authenticity and raw emotion, and the Tootle family's larger-than-life personalities provided that in spades. Audiences enjoyed watching not only the builds but also the high-stakes arguments and reconciliations that unfolded on screen. Additionally, the show benefited from its timing. Motorcycle culture was surging in the early 2000s, thanks in part to the popularity of Harley-Davidson and a renewed interest in Americana. American Chopper became a cultural phenomenon, spawning merchandise, video games, and international recognition. The show's branding and commercial success made OCC a household name and elevated the Tootles to celebrity status. For a time, the formula worked exceptionally well, creating a reality television juggernaut. As American Chopper progressed, the balance between compelling storytelling and authentic bike building began to shift. Initially, viewers were hooked by the fusion of high-caliber fabrication work and real family drama. But as seasons went on, the focus gradually moved away from the artistry of chopper construction and leaned more heavily into personal conflict, especially the explosive confrontations between Paul Sr. and Paul Jr. While drama is an essential component of reality television, it began to overshadow the very thing that made American Chopper unique: the motorcycles. More screen time was devoted to shouting matches and family feuds than to the technical aspects of the builds. Viewers who tuned in for the creative process were left wanting more. The motorcycle builds were still impressive, but they became more of a backdrop than the centerpiece. This shift alienated a portion of the core audience who had come for the bikes and stayed for the personalities, not the other way around. As the interpersonal drama escalated, it also became repetitive. Episodes often had a predictable formula. A disagreement erupts, voices are raised, someone storms out, and somehow the build is completed just in time. The show lost its sense of spontaneity and began to feel formulaic, diminishing its emotional impact and entertainment value. Additionally, some fans began to question the authenticity of the conflicts, suspecting they were exaggerated or scripted to maintain ratings. This erasure of trust contributed to viewer fatigue and a decline in overall engagement. One of the pivotal moments in the downfall of American Chopper came with the highly publicized departure of Paul Tootle Jr. from Orange County Choppers in late 2008. What had long been simmering tensions between father and son finally reached a boiling point, resulting in Jr.'s dismissal. This wasn't just a personal rift, it had enormous implications for the show's structure and future. The dynamic between Senior and Junior was the emotional and narrative cornerstone of the series. Without it, the show lost its most compelling storyline. Following his departure, Paul Jr. attempted to distance himself from OCC and eventually launched his own company, Paul Jr. Designs. However, the split was far from amicable. A bitter legal battle ensued when Paul Sr. tried to buy out his son's 20% stake in OCC, citing a contractual clause. Paul Jr. contested the valuation and legality of the buyout, resulting in a court case that further strained their relationship. A New York appellate court ultimately ruled in Jr.'s favor, but the damage to the family and the brand was already done. This legal fallout cast a dark shadow over the show. It moved the drama from the workshop floor to the courtroom, removing any illusion that this was merely a rough-and-tumble family business. The very public legal proceedings not only impacted the two tools' reputations, but also turned off many fans who had hoped for reconciliation. Another significant contributor to the show's decline was its transition between networks and the eventual decision to cancel it. Originally airing on the Discovery Channel, American Chopper was moved to TLC in 2007. While the network shift might seem like a minor logistical change, it marked a broader transformation in the show's tone and audience targeting. TLC leaned more into the personal drama, aligning American Chopper with its other emotionally driven reality offerings, and less with the industrial and educational tone that Discovery had previously championed. In 2010, the show returned to Discovery under a new format, American Chopper, Sr. vs. Jr. This spin-off depicted the now separate shops of Paul Sr. and Paul Jr. as they competed for contracts, credibility, and viewer loyalty. While the concept initially intrigued audiences, it soon became apparent that the series was relying too heavily on recycled drama and brand name recognition. The builds, once the heartbeat of the show, felt secondary. Ratings began to dip, and the format failed to recapture the magic of the original seasons. In November 2012, Discovery announced the cancellation of the series. The final episode aired in December of that year, closing the book on a show that had once been a reality television powerhouse. By then, the two tools were no longer the endearing, bickering duo viewers had once loved but rather estranged figures embroiled in conflict. The show had shifted too far from its roots, and audiences had moved on. Even multiple revival attempts in the years following failed to regain the same momentum, confirming the show's downward trajectory. The end of the original series saw the fragmentation of the American Chopper brand into various independent ventures, further diluting its core identity. After leaving OCC, Paul Jr. founded Paul Jr. Designs, branching into diverse business ventures ranging from electric bicycles to branded merchandise. Paul Sr., meanwhile, attempted to keep OCC afloat through new business strategies, including relocating and launching a new OCC Roadhouse and Museum in Florida. These efforts, while ambitious, failed to recapture the unified brand appeal that American Chopper had enjoyed in its heyday. Other cast members also dispersed into different paths. Vinny DiMartino started his own custom automotive shop, while Rick Petco went on to focus on blacksmithing and craftsmanship. Jason Pohl pursued a career in digital design. Mikey Tootle, a fan favorite known for his comic relief, ventured into art and philanthropy. Each member tried to capitalize on their fame, but the cohesive team dynamic that had originally driven the show was gone. This fragmentation not only diluted the brand, but also confused fans about where the heart of American Chopper truly lay. Additionally, over-commercialization contributed to brand fatigue. Merchandise, licensing deals, and overexposure across different platforms stretched the brand thin. Instead of a gritty, authentic look into the chopper-building world, the franchise became synonymous with drama and dysfunction. A lesser-known but critical reason for American Chopper's decline was the increasing cost of producing each episode. Building custom motorcycles is expensive, especially when the bikes are one-of-a-kind, themed, and packed with elaborate metalwork, custom paint jobs, and advanced components. Each build could cost tens of thousands of dollars, not including labor, equipment, or rush timelines dictated by television production schedules. Early on, these expenses were justified by the show's massive viewership and merchandising profits. But as ratings began to decline and the novelty wore off, the economics became harder to justify. Over time, channel and production teams faced rising costs that weren't matched by increasing returns. Filming became more complex with multi-camera setups, aerial shots, and on-location segments that added to logistical expenses. Add to that the mounting salaries of cast members, many of whom became celebrities in their own right, and the budget inflated beyond what the show could sustainably support. In later seasons, viewers and critics began noticing cost-cutting efforts, reused shop interiors, reduced travel builds, and fewer high-concept episodes. These budget constraints also impacted the storytelling. The pressure to produce more drama in less time sometimes led to forced conflicts or recycled plotlines, as there wasn't always money or time for intricate builds or elaborate events. The series started feeling constrained rather than expansive, which weakened its appeal. Financial sustainability became a real issue, especially during periods when sponsors were harder to secure. In this way, the very thing that made American Chopper thrilling, its high-stakes, high-budget builds, became a burden that contributed to its unraveling.